Part-1, Chapter-10. From D.C., Ayendra continued to New York. The temple on West 55th Street had recently been sold, and the deities Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who had originally been installed in the Henry Street Temple in Brooklyn after their arrival from Jaipur in 1972 and moved to Manhattan 3 years later, had moved again, a few blocks southeast, to a small building on 7th Avenue. Ayendra served as a pujari for Radha Govinda for a few months, but as soon as he had raised the funds for airfare, he was on a flight to India. From Calcutta, he took a public bus the 80 miles to Mayapur, ISKCON's international headquarters and the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the founder of the Sankirtan movement. And a few days later, from nearby Navadvip, he boarded an overnight train to Mathura and took a rickshaw the rest of the way to Vrindavan. When Ayendra arrived, Raman Reti, the outlying area of Vrindavan that housed ISKCON's Krishna Balaram temple, was still relatively undeveloped. Quote, "From the roof of the guest house one could see trees and grass everywhere," Madhurya Leela Dasi later remembered. There were groves of mangoes and herds of nilgai, Asian antelope, roamed the flower fields and mango groves. We could see all the way to the Yamuna, and it was common to see and hear peacocks and green parrots in the nearby forests. The Vrindavan Parikram path was soft, silky sand. Everyone would say, "Radhe, Radhe." There weren't any shops in front of the temple gate, and only tangas and rickshaws were on the main road. It was hard to make even local calls, what to speak of international calls, and there were not many devotees living there, so we got to know everyone and formed close relationships, even with visiting devotees from all over the world. The temple itself was even more beautiful than Ayendra had imagined. The black and white marble floor glistened under rows of arches, and a dark tamal tree spread an umbrella of leaves over the courtyard. The Radha Krishna deities, Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, were flanked by the gopis Lalita and Vishaka, and Radharani seemed to blush with love for her Shyam. Still, Ayendra felt, something seemed wrong. A recording of Prabhupada's kirtan played from speakers mounted atop the temple's 3 towers. Why was there a recording, he wondered? Where was Prabhupada's 24-hour kirtan? "I'm here," he announced to a devotee. "Where do I sign in?" The temple president welcomed Ayendra and informed him of the standard policy established by Srila Prabhupada. "You can stay here for 3 days," he said. "After that, you have to do service or rent a room in the guest house." When Ayendra asked what had happened to the 24-hour kirtan, he was told that it had lasted only a year or so before fading away 3 years before. "But Prabhupada wanted 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan," he said, and Vrindavan was the spiritual heart of ISKCON. If kirtan could die out there, was there any hope for its resurgence anywhere in the movement? Prabhupada wanted many things, the temple president told him: planetariums, varnashram, cow protection, new temples, book distribution, feeding the poor. But what was most important, Ayendra asked himself? Preaching. And what was preaching? Giving Krishna consciousness, love of God, to others. And no one could give something they didn't have. To actually preach, one had to become Krishna conscious, and the primary means of achieving that in the age of Kali was Krishna Nam Sankirtan. What then could be a higher preaching priority than kirtan? What could be more important? Ayendra joined the Pujari department and for a few months served Sri Sri Krishna Balaram, the temple's presiding deities, on the center altar. He spent most of his 8 free hours each day in the temple room chanting and playing mridanga. In time, his daily 8-hour kirtans started to gain support from local Brajbasis and pilgrims, but sometimes not as much from the temple devotees. Aindra wanted the kirtans to be vigorous, and though eventually the temple book distributors saw that when the kirtan was more ecstatic, visitors bought more books, at first some complained that it was too loud and interfered with their preaching. "What kind of kirtan is that?" they questioned. "We want to play something nice that attracts people." Sitting one night on his trunk, which he had chained to a railing of the roof of the Gurukul building next to the temple where he was staying, he read a new book, Preaching is the Essence, a compilation of quotes from Prabhupada on the subject of preaching. Inspired by Srila Prabhupada's words and disappointed by the state of the temple's kirtan program, Aindra decided to return to America, where, following Prabhupada's example, he could preach to Westerners. But how? How about a traveling road show, he wondered, like what Vishnujan Swami had done with the Radha Damodar party. After all, he was a musician and he knew how to bring a show on the road, having traveled with carnivals when he was younger. Quote, "I knew about how they constructed the side shows," he remembered. They'd pack them into a tractor trailer, and then they would open the side and a false front would come out. He would outfit a box truck with side doors that opened all the way, build a facade, and transform the truck into a moving temple. He could drive it to fairs and public events, open it up, do Harinam Sankirtan, and then fold everything up and drive to the next city. A Sankirtan festival on wheels.